If you're up at 1 a.m. researching if the Sony a7 IV is good enough for Astro, this video is for you. I've used it as my main Astro body for 2 years now, and this shot I captured with it was even shortlisted in a major Astro competition last year. So today I will show you how it performs in real Astro shooting, and most importantly how it compares to older and newer generation of Sony bodies. So this way you can decide what to actually buy. Let's get started. And quick context, so you know where I'm actually coming from. Before the a7 IV, I had an a7 III. And now I even have an a7R5. But I still use the a7 IV as my main Astro body. And this is not a spec comparison. I won't just list the specs of each camera and talk about why the a7 IV is the best one for me. I'll just go through what actually matters when you are out shooting Astro in the dark at 2 a.m. And just to be clear, Sony hasn't sponsored me or anything, hasn't gifted me any cameras or lenses, and I bought every piece of gear I use with my own money. So this is my honest experience and not something sponsored by Sony. First, here's what I love about the camera. The sensor is actually great for low light. 33 megapixels feels like the sweet spot. And here are some raw files. They're actually amazing, especially when you are shooting tracked exposures. And then you have all the nice to have features, like bright monitoring, which is pretty standard nowadays on most Sony cameras at least, but it's still nice to have. The built-in intervalometer is super nice too. It's very easy to use and always handy to have one that you don't have to connect an extra cable to the camera or anything. The only downside with that is that the shutter speed is capped to 30 seconds, which is a software limitation, and I don't understand why they don't make it 2, 3, or 5 minutes like Nikon cameras, for example. It's just a software update and it will make an astrophotographer's life way easier. Imagine not having to use an intervalometer. Sony, if you are listening to this, please just update your software. So next, the battery, the NP-FZ100 is actually really nice, even in cold weather. Nothing to complain about here. And just keep in mind, everything I mentioned are basically standard Sony and probably other brand features at this point. So why not get an older model? The answer is there are a few major updates from the older generation cameras like the a7 III and other older gen cameras. For example, the menu system is way easier to navigate now. And the articulating screen is very convenient. If you are, for example, shooting and you get cold and you want to sit in the car, you can tilt it so it faces you and you can check every few minutes to make sure it's actually capturing the images. Also, there is a setting to close the shutter when the camera is off, and this feels way safer when you actually change lenses in the field. You basically don't worry about anything getting on the sensor and you having to clean it in the dark and everything. That wouldn't be convenient. And that's basically it. That's the main features I love that the Sony a7 IV has and the Sony a7 III didn't. But why not get a newer model? First of all, the Sony a7 V, the newer version of the a7 IV, seems to be a solid option for netscapes. And there is even talk online about a higher dynamic range than older models. But the main problem with that camera is that now they decided to add 2 USB-C ports instead of one USB-C and the older shutter release cable. So everything I own, like intervalometers, the Benro Polaris, like everything can be used with that camera. So for me, that's a good enough reason to not upgrade. And also, most of the companies won't actually be updating their shutter release cables anytime soon. So you are limited to that 30-second exposures I talked about before. And for me, that's a really good reason not to get the a7 V, at least not yet. But you might be wondering, okay, yeah, the a7 V has that limitation. The a7R5 still has the old shutter release cable. And I love the a7R5. I'm actually using it to record this video now. And I also love it for daytime work, like landscapes, etc. But I don't really use it for Astro, at least not for the sky. use it to capture foregrounds and they come out amazing. But for the sky, it's actually not really needed. I have a full video comparing the A7R5 and the A7 IV for Astro. But basically the moral of that story is that the A7 IV is, if not better, equal to the A7R5. So there is no point in getting a more expensive body when you can just get the A7 IV modified, get a star tracker, and probably a bit of a better lens as well for the same price. So, long story short, I'm actually really satisfied with the A7 IV. It works great for netscapes, and I'm actually so satisfied, I even got a second A7 IV body, and in the moment I'm in the process of sending it to get the Astro modification. So, for Astro use, it's actually a beast. But that's not true for the Sony A7 IV only. The truth is, most recent cameras are actually great for Astro. And this is because we don't need a lot of fancy features, like pre-capture or open-gate video, which seem to be the hot topic in today's camera world. We just need a good enough sensor, basic manual control, and if we have low noise, that's a really good bonus. Like bright monitoring, the built-in intervalometer, those are nice to have. And for the A7 IV, the menu system and the rotating screen is everything we can ask for. And the shutter closing when the camera is off, that's really important, and we're asking for that too. It's a software update basically for all their cameras, so I don't understand why they don't add it. So basically, if you watch this video to get some kind of an okay to get this camera, this is your okay. It's good enough. Just go get it and start shooting already. But the camera alone won't give you great photos. You have to know how to use it and how to avoid general limitations of astrophotography to get a lot of detail in your Milky Way. And I have a whole system about that, which I documented in another video. So watch this video next if you want to see how to capture amazing detail in your Milky Way shots.